Every filmmaker has that one story, the tale that defines them, that lives deep inside their imagination for years, waiting to be born. For Guillermo del Toro, that story has always been Frankenstein. A story not about monsters, but about men who become monsters. About the pain of creation, the ache of rejection, and the loneliness of being unloved. In 2025, after decades of dreaming, Del Toro finally brought Mary Shelley's Gothic masterpiece to the screen, and he did it his way, rich, tragic, and heartbreakingly beautiful. This is not the Frankenstein of bolts, torches, and angry mobs. This is the story of a father and son, a god and his creation, and how both destroy each other, trying to understand what it means to be human. The film begins in silence. The Arctic, a ship trapped in ice, its crew desperately hammering through the frozen sea. The sky is pale, the world colorless. It's a haunting image, as if life itself has been drained from the world. Among this desolation, a faint explosion echoes across the horizon. The men investigate, and there, frozen and dying, they find a stranger collapsed in the snow. Victor Frankenstein, played with cold, feverish intensity by Oscar Isaac. They bring him aboard, trying to revive him. His lips are blue, his eyes hollow. But before he can speak, a figure appears on the ice, something massive, distorted, moving with impossible strength. The crew opens fire. The figure vanishes into the blizzard. Shaken, the ship's captain, Anderson, played by Lars Mikkelsen, asks, "What have you done to bring that thing here?" And Victor, breathing raggedly, begins to tell his story. The flashback takes us to Geneva, where we meet Victor as a child. His world is cold, rigid, and cruel. His father, Leopold Frankenstein, is a man of science but no heart. He treats his son like an experiment, demanding, punishing, distant. His mother is the only light in his life, but when she dies of illness, that light goes out. From that moment, Victor becomes obsessed with what death took from him. He begins to believe that science can do what God cannot, undo death itself. He grows into a brilliant young man, arrogant, intense, desperate to defy nature. But Del Toro adds something Shelley never could: the psychology of grief as addiction. Victor isn't just playing God out of arrogance, he's mourning. He's a boy trying to resurrect his mother. At university, Victor meets Henrich Harlander, a powerful industrialist played by Christoph Waltz. He funds Victor's experiments, not out of belief, but greed. He sees profit in resurrection, the idea of creating life on command. He becomes the devil whispering in Victor's ear, "You could own creation itself." Meanwhile, Victor's brother William and his fiancée Elizabeth represent what Victor could have had: warmth, love, and normalcy. But he can't see it. He's consumed by his project. As thunder roars outside, Victor pieces together his masterpiece, a body made from the remains of the dead. Finally, on a stormy night, lightning strikes, the body jerks, breath fills its lungs, and Victor, trembling, looks upon what he has made. A figure, pale, enormous, trembling, reaches out its hand to him, like a child reaching for a parent. And Victor recoils. He runs. He abandons his creation to the darkness. The creature, played by Jacob Elordi, stumbles through the streets, confused, terrified, and newborn. He doesn't understand words, faces, or fear. He's driven away by screams, beaten by villagers, burned and shot at. But this isn't the mindless monster we know from older films. Del Toro gives him humanity. We see the world through his eyes, the confusion, the loneliness, the ache of existing in a body that everyone despises. He hides in the woods, watching people live their simple lives. He sees a family that laughs together, eats together, prays together, everything he was denied. In one of the film's most beautiful sequences, the creature befriends a blind old man, played by David Bradley. Because the man cannot see his deformity, he treats him like a friend. He teaches him words, reads him poetry, and tells him stories from Paradise Lost. For a brief, perfect moment, the creature is happy. He learns love, compassion, hope. But when the man's family returns and sees the creature, their fear consumes them. They attack him. They burn their home to the ground. And in that fire, something inside the creature dies. He screams to the heavens, a sound of pure anguish, and realizes he will never be accepted by the world that made him. Now, filled with rage and grief, the creature seeks out his creator. He finds Victor, and the confrontation is both biblical and deeply human. "You made me," the creature says, "and then you left me to die." Victor refuses to look him in the eye. He calls him a mistake, an abomination. But the creature doesn't want death. He wants recognition. He asks Victor to make him a companion. "I am alone," he pleads. "Give me someone like me, or I will make you know my pain." Here, Del Toro leans into the theme of fatherhood. The creature is the abandoned son, still begging for his father's love, even as he threatens him. Victor, meanwhile, embodies generational cruelty, a son who repeats his own father's sins. Victor promises to help, but when the time comes, he destroys his second creation, unable to bear the thought of another mistake. The creature, heartbroken, lashes out. He kills William, Victor's brother, and leaves Victor a message. "Now you know my pain." This act breaks Victor completely. He vows to destroy what he created. And the two men, bound by hatred and love, begin their final chase across the world. The story comes full circle, back to the ship frozen in the Arctic. Victor finishes his story. He's sick, frail, his life nearly gone. The captain listens, horrified. But then, through the storm, they see it, a shadow on the ice. The creature has returned. He climbs aboard, carrying Victor's body. The men raise their guns, but he doesn't fight. Instead, he kneels. He looks at Victor, the only person who ever understood him, even if he never loved him, and whispers, "He gave me life, but not love." And then, gently, he walks out into the snow, carrying his creator's body. The captain and his men watch as both figures, man and monster, disappear into the white void, swallowed by the endless winter.
In the end, Frankenstein isn't a story about creation. It's about abandonment. Del Toro's version reframes the myth. It's not the creature who is the monster, but Victor himself, a man so obsessed with controlling life that he forgets how to live it, a man who plays God but cannot offer grace. The creature becomes the embodiment of every unloved child, every forgotten soul. His pain isn't born of evil, it's born of loneliness. The final image of him walking into the snow is Del Toro's signature symbol, the misunderstood being returning to the shadows, carrying love and sorrow in equal measure. He doesn't die, he endures, because monsters, in Del Toro's world, are eternal. Del Toro and cinematographer Dan Lostson turn every frame into Gothic art, vast, decaying castles lit by candlelight, laboratories filled with gears and wires that look like veins, and landscapes so enormous they make the characters feel small. The creature's birth scene mirrors religious iconography, his body hung in a crucifixion pose, lightning crackling like divine judgment. Victor's lab is his cathedral, and he is its false god. The film's religious imagery is deliberate. Del Toro has said the story is about man's attempt to replace God. Every visual reflects that, from the angelic visions haunting Victor's dreams to the final storm that erases his name from the earth. The score by Alexandre Desplat is another masterpiece, blending sorrow, wonder, and dread. It starts with fragile strings and ends with a full orchestral storm, mirroring the creature's emotional evolution. Let's talk about performances. Oscar Isaac's Victor Frankenstein is the perfect embodiment of tragic ambition. He's not a mad scientist. He's a wounded soul, driven by grief, delusion, and pride. Isaac plays him like a man haunted by ghosts only he can see. Jacob Elordi, though, is the film's heart. His performance as the creature is devastating, a symphony of sadness and yearning. He moves like someone learning how to be alive, every gesture uncertain, every word fragile. It's a portrayal of innocence turned to despair, and it might be the finest role of his career. Mia Goth brings quiet grace to Elizabeth, a woman caught between love and fear. And Christoph Waltz, as Henrich, represents the world's corruption, using creation not for beauty, but for profit. Together, they form a tapestry of obsession, greed, and grief, all circling around one question. What makes us human? Our ability to create or our capacity to love? By the time Frankenstein 2025 ends, you realize something profound. Del Toro hasn't just adapted a classic. He's rewritten it as a confession. Because every Del Toro film, from Pan's Labyrinth to The Shape of Water, has been about outsiders who crave acceptance. And here, the creature is Del Toro himself, a child who grew up loving monsters, misunderstood by the world, but still full of wonder. This film is both his tribute to Mary Shelley and his own reflection in her mirror. And maybe that's why it hurts so much. Because in Del Toro's universe, the real horror isn't death or creation. It's rejection. It's the cruelty of looking into another soul and saying, "You don't belong." Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is a masterpiece of emotion and craft, a story of fathers and sons, gods and monsters, and the eternal struggle to be seen. And in the end, when the creature disappears into the snow, we're left with the truth Mary Shelley wrote over 2 centuries ago.